And welcome back to the show where we're going to continue our look now at the comedy festival by taking a look at a show that is called Swift Talk. And this is the brand new show from Dean Robinson, and we thought today we'll actually get Dean on the phone to chat a little bit about this brand new show that he's put together. Welcome to the show, Dean.
Hi, thanks for having me.
No worries. Now, Dean, tell us a little bit about this show. What can we expect from Swift Talk?
So, my show, I like to call it like a love letter to Swifties, of all the Swifties that exist. It's all pretty much it's a 14-year-old version of myself, so a very unhinged version of myself, live streaming on TikTok all about Taylor Swift, and you'll see all the highs and lows and hilarity and ridiculousness of what Swifties are like.
Definitely. Now, I had a very, very unusual interaction with a Swiftie, I have to say. I was hosting an event at the Astor Theatre, and after our event, there was actually going to be a screening of, I think it was a Taylor Swift documentary, or it might have even been one of the performance shows. But anyway, this guy who looked like he would have been in his 80s or his 90s went to go into the cinema, and one of the people that was with our crew turned around and said to him, "Oh, mate, do you realise that's the Taylor Swift show?" thinking that he was there for something else. And he went, "I know, I love her." And it was that moment for me where I realised, wow, she really does have fans of all ages.
Yeah, absolutely. She really just like has a way of connecting with people, whether you're like an 8-year-old girl or like a 27-year-old gay male. She can connect with everyone somehow.
Yeah. So tell us about the show. How did you come up with the concept for this show that we're about to see at the comedy festival?
So I started working on the show while I was studying. So I studied musical theatre at Patrick School of the Arts a couple of years ago, and I did like a mini version of it while I was there. And pretty much we were prompted to just make a show about something that we were passionate about and that we liked. And I was like, well, there are two things that I'm very passionate about, and that's musical theatre and Taylor Swift. So I guess I can try and make a world where they all fit together. And I have been on TikTok myself for a few years now, and I've had like a small following, but a bit of interaction on there and a few videos that have done well. So I figured I knew the TikTok world really, really well, and I understand how like the social media platform works, and I know Taylor Swift so well, and I thought there is a gold mine of ridiculous moments and things that people do, and just a gold mine of just like funny things that exist on there that I thought would be a great show to expand upon. And I've ended up with like boatloads of content.
So how do you bring what's been done on TikTok to the stage? Was that a pretty difficult process for you?
A little bit. I think there are some things that don't really translate in terms of just like the structure of how TikTok kind of works, because TikTok is so short, like so everything's about short moments, you want to grab people quickly, but obviously a full like hour-long show isn't quite the same. So there are some things that kind of lean into the TikTok more, and like the awkward and like weirdness of making a TikTok, and how fake TikToks really are. You get the moments of, I'm setting up my video, and you only see the finished product, but you don't see all of that goes into the bits that goes around it. But I've kind of probably more leaned into just kind of things that I've seen on TikTok that have worked successfully, like different like things people do in interviews. So I do the similar kind of interviews with audience members. So I kind of break through the TikTok lag a little bit. And also just kind of the kind of characters you see on TikTok, and the Swiftie side of TikTok, and the kind of people that post videos, I kind of spoof a variety of them of sorts.
Awesome. Now, for a long time, you were considered a breakthrough artist with great shows at Midsummer, Melbourne Fringe, Adelaide Fringe, and then The Date came along, which had an absolute sold-out season. Do you feel more pressure now when you're putting together a show after the success of The Date?
I don't know if I find more pressure. I think that show was such a different kind of show to what I've created now, that was very much a cabaret in regular cabaret form that I was really, really proud of, and I was really happy with how well it did. But I think the pressure of this one I'm finding more from the comedy side, and I've always done I've always had comedy in everything that I've done. Like, and the date specifically was quite funny and had a lot of comedy, but I didn't feel like the comedy was necessary because it was just a cabaret. Cabarets don't inherently have to be funny.
Yeah.
But in the comedy festival, I was like, oh, I've got to be funny now. So that has been an interesting balance to find the right kind of comedy for the show. But I think I've really found that little, like, walking that fine line, and I've found it, and that any pressure that I've had, I'm feeling more like in tune with.
Yeah. How do you go about doing that? How do you make sure that your show is funny? Like, that's something that I've had to go through because I've done stand-up before, and my sense of humor is a very dark sense of humor, and my biggest fear was I was going to get on stage and tell a joke that people would just be like, that is not funny, but I would find it funny. So how do you make sure that your show is funny and that it's going to impress a comedy festival crowd?
It's been a big challenge, absolutely, especially with a niche topic like Taylor Swift is. Like, she's such a huge megastar, but there are so many, only people who are like very specific fans will understand some references and stuff. So I've had to try and find a balance of explaining things that need to be explained, but in a funny way, so then everyone can be in on the same joke. As well as also, I've outsourced to my friends a lot, especially my non-Swiftie friends who don't know things about Taylor Swift, and I've workshopped things with them, and I've performed sections and stuff for them, just to kind of get some feedback and go, is that funny? Do you understand that? Do I need to explain more or less? And I have a lot of good performer friends who've been very, very, very helpful, and really, really, I've been really appreciative of all of them.
Now, I know that when Taylor Swift was in Australia and doing shows in Melbourne and Sydney, some fans put up some different videos on different social media platforms, and her official account either liked them or commented on them, which means that somebody in the Taylor Swift camp, maybe even herself, is a frequent user of social media. What happens if someone from her official account finds out about your show and likes something? How are you going to act?
Well, I actually have in the past. So yeah, Taylor has always been really, really online and like interacting with her fans a lot. And she's actually liked 3 of my TikToks in the past and has commented on one as well.
Yep.
Which does feature in the show a little bit. And Taylor Nation, which is her kind of her team's page, which is like a separate page to her official page, have actually even reposted one of my TikToks as well. So I've obviously I've been seen by them before, which is pretty cool and pretty exciting. If they see anything about my show, I mean, all of my stuff is very much with love. I don't anticipate any issues or concerns, but also, I guess, we will find out.
Now, for all of our listeners out there, if you want to head along and check out #SwiftTalk, it's on from the 11th to the 21st of April, 6 to 7 p.m. each night at the Motley Bauhaus, and we will actually have a link up on our website where you can grab those tickets from as well, so go to subcultureentertainment.com. Dean, before we finish, what would you like to say to people out there who are thinking about heading along and checking out your show as part of the comedy festival?
I would say absolutely come along, whether you are a Swiftie or you've met a Swiftie or you know a Swiftie, and even if you actually don't even like Taylor Swift, you will enjoy this show because it really is for anyone and everyone. You'll hear some fun songs, you'll hear some funny jokes, and you'll just have a good time.
Definitely. Well, Dean, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us today. Again, for our listeners out there, head along to check out #SwiftTalk, 11th to the 21st of April, 6 to 7 p.m. every night at the Motley Bauhaus.